So what is the reason for this? First of all, what is this Kisei HaKavod, and why is the image of Yaakov Avinu embedded in there? So the Rabbeinu Bachya puts an enormous gloss on the subject. And he says as follows. The Rebbeinu Shalom has a great concept. He has a concept of a Mamlechus Kohanim V'Goy Kodesh, of a great nation and a great people. But great people require great training. So the Rebbeinu Shalom will create a training course in order to create these great people. Veracious. Bishvil Yisroel Dovid Bora L'Kimis Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz. You know what a shvil is? A shvil is a path. Veracious Bishvil Yisroel, because of the path that Yisroel has to go. Bora L'Kimis Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz. The Rebbeinu Shalom creates an entire infrastructure. An infrastructure to train us what we are supposed to be. Bishvili nivra olam. The Rebbeinu Shalom creates a shvil for each and every one of us to be what we're supposed to be. Now the Rebbeinu Shalom is now going to create this training course. However, there are things that must be created beforehand in order to create this thing. So the Gemara tells us in Medrash Chazal that there are 7 things that were created before Brias Hayim. 7 things that were the prerequisite to build this training course that we call this world. So what was the first thing? The first thing is the Torah. What is this Torah? The Torah is a set of plans. Bihi boron, behei boron. Histakel deraisa bar Allah. Would you build a machine without first creating a set of plans? This is not only the set of plans concerning the building of the world. It's the set of plans concerning the Nasa Adam, the building of man. So the first thing the Rebbeinu Shalom creates is a set of plans. Bereshis b'shvil ha'toyra shenikra reishis bar l'kimis hashamayim v'sa'aretz. You know what it means? You know what a shvil is? A shvil is a path. The shvil is built in accordance with the specifications in the Torah. Bereshis b'shvil ha'toyra. The shvil is created in accordance with a set of plans. A set of plans of the making of the world and a set of plans of the making of man. What's the next thing the Rebbeinu Shalom creates? You want to build a machine. You want to build a machine, suppose something goes wrong. Maybe we do something we're not supposed to do. Would you buy a car that you couldn't fix? You have to have a toolkit. So what's the next thing the Rebbeinu Shalom creates? He creates tshuva. This is all the prerequisite for the prayers. Tshuva means the ability to go back in time and space, undo what you've done, and do it correctly again. It's a magic time machine. A machine that doesn't exist in the Teva the Bria. Okay, what is the next thing that he brings? Have to have positive and negative incentive. You want people to work? You must give them positive incentive. And if chas v'chlila they do something they're not supposed to do, has to be a negative incentive. So what are the next 2 things are created? The next 2 things are created is Gan Eden and Gehenna. But notice over there, these are things that are created not in this world. Gan Eden and Gehenna is something of the next world. Because this is not a world of schar or oilish. Schar mitzvah b'hai al maleka, and the truth is the oilish is not here either. So what is the purpose of this world? The purpose of this world is Yisurim. Yisurim? Oh, that sounds terrible. You mean to tell me punishment? No. The word Yisurim means liyasur. It means to steer. The Rebbeinu Shalom creates a world in which he will now steer us in the right direction. And therefore he now creates the next item, which is the Kisei HaKavod. It is the control panel by which the Rebbeinu Shalom feared the world, and which he's Yosser man, which he steers man in the right direction. But the Rebbeinu Shalom has a plan. He just doesn't run this world just to run it. He runs the world in order to create the Nasa Adam, the Tikkun of man. And he has an image of what that man is supposed to look like. You know what it's supposed to look like? He's supposed to look like Yaakov Avinu. That's what he's supposed to look like. But what is that milah of Yaakov Avinu that distinguishes him from the other people? Why didn't it say Avram Avinu? Why didn't it say Yitzchak? Why is it the tzura of Yaakov Avinu that is on the Kisa Kovet, that the Rebbeinu Shalom will manipulate the world in order to turn out Yaakov Avinu's? Because the Yaakov Avinu is the Ish Tam Yosef Oholim. He's the Tamimistic person. He's the whole person. As my father, Lava Shalom, would say, Tzimgot Tzimad. A man who could deal with all kinds of situations. It says Yosef Oholim. Why doesn't it say Yosef Oil? It says Yosef Oholim because Velcha Oil Gefinzach have Hashtaitzah Vitahandel. He can deal with Esav, he can deal with Lavan, he can deal with Shem, he can deal with his children, he can deal with everyone. The Rebbeinu Shalom, the Dars will turn out Ish Tamimim. Torah's Hadeshem Tamima. The purpose of the Torah is to create Tamimistic mention. Yidden. And the Rebbeinu Shalom will turn out these people in each and every generation. He will turn out Yosef Gottliebs. He will turn out people was gekent lernen, was gekent davening, who understands how to deal with other people, who can go out into the world and deal ehrlich with other people. He will turn out these people. He will create an entire infrastructure for the purposes of creating Yaakov Avinu bechol dar v'dar in every generation. We don't have to be Yaakov Avinu at his madrega. We have to be at our madrega to me. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a person who's gemeint a tmimistic dimension, a complete person, an ish yosher, a person who was a nasi. What does this nasi mean? Where does this word come from? This word nasi comes from the Lashon nasa, which means to carry. Kipshutai. You know what a nasi is? A man who's prepared to carry the burdens of others. That's what a nasi is. But I'll tell you, there's a little bit more to the story of what a nasi is. The Heilige Tzaddik Rebbe Chusay Yogan Aleinu says that a nasi is a mashpia. He's someone who carries a person from where he is to where he's supposed to be. And you have to understand the concept of Nesias is not a question of head of state. The question of Nesias is a state of mind. It's an attitude to life. Are you prepared to assume responsibility for somebody else? Are you prepared to be mashpia somebody else? You don't have to be ahead of anything. This is a view. We're talking about a person. You heard the story. There was a Yosef. He had no place to be buried. All right? Many people heard that story. But the person sitting over there who heard the story, who was a Nasi, that means he was prepared to assume responsibility for someone else. Says, you know something? We will take care of this problem. Because a Nasi is prepared to assume responsibility for someone else. And jeder Mensch can sein a Nasi. It has nothing to do with an appointment in life. It has to do with a view of which a man is mahalach. It has a view that Mr. Gottlieb have, a view that I will assume responsibility for someone else. I will be mashpia. That's a nasi. There are people who could be a nasi without the position. In fact, most of the time, the guests in the Siyum are people without the title, not with the title. But in this Gehenna, one had a nasi with the title. He had the prerequisites of Nasias. He was prepared to carry responsibility for others, but he also had the title of the Nasias, because Shem Shom, because the essence of the person. Did you ever wonder why the word Zohar and Secher are the three same letters? A Zohar is a male, and Secher means to remember someone. So what does one have to do with the other? Now you have to understand, Lashon HaKodesh is a very serious piece of business because the Rebbeinu Shalom creates the world by Lashon HaKodesh. Asaram Amoras Nivra Oilam. So if the word Zohar and Zeicher are the same three letters, it means because Zohar and Zeicher are the same concept. So what is this relationship between the Zohar and the Zeicher? In metaphysical terms, the Zohar is the Mashpia, the one who influences others. And the Emes is Lefi HaZohar, in accordance with the influence that someone influences others. That is his Zeicher. That is how he's remembered. What influence did he bring in this world? That's the Zohar. And he's remembered that's the Zeicher also. As he influences others, as he makes a better world that he came into it, that's his Zeicher. That's what we remember about him. We are talking about an individual who grows up in America during inhospitable times. This is not a time for Shomer Torah mitzvahs. As Rabbi Cohen said, it was difficult times. He didn't tell you what the Vasikin Minyan did after they went to davening in the morning. And maybe I won't say it either, because maybe it's better not said. Those were the nisyonis of a previous jar. And those people were not able to turn out a next generation of Shomer Torah mitzvahs. They were not. They were good people. Oinus the Rachmana Pater, as my father Lovell Shalom used to say, as an oinus, a man is an oinus, is a Rachmanis that is Pater. That a man doesn't have an opportunity to do a mitzvah, das is a Rachmanis. So unfortunately, it was an oinus or was a Rachmanis the Pater, that they were Pater. But they were people who rose above it. They were people who are prepared to bring daughters into the United States of America of Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Now let me tell you one of the secrets of these people. And one of the secrets of Mr. Gottlieb. You see, there's a posik. And the posik says, L'leches b'chol d'rochav u'ledovka. So Rashi says, what is L'leches b'chol d'rochav? Mahu bal chesed, altu bal chesed. We are required to emulate the midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Then it said, but what does Ledovka mean? What does this mean? So Rashi says, the Talmidei Chacham, the Bnei Torah. So, on Shulik, where does Rashi get this from, the words of the Pasuk? You have to understand, Rashi is here to tell us, Pshuti Shal Mikra. He doesn't make it up. And if it's Lidrash, he tells you it's Lidrash. Here he doesn't say anything about it. He says that it's in order you should be attached yourself to Bnei Torah Talmidei Chachamim. So where does he get this from, the Pasuk? You have to understand there are two separate obligations in this Pasuk. One obligation is L'leches b'chol d'rochav. We are required to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu's midas. Mahu bal chesed ato bal chesed. Mahu bal rachmanis ato bal rachmanis. And the man we're talking was a bal chesed and a bal rachmanis. What is Ledovka boy? Ledovka boy is another mitzvah. The other mitzvah is Ledovka to those who are L'leches b'chol d'rochav. To find yourself in a kehillah amongst people who are Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Because it's too difficult to raise a family where the children have to swim either across the river or against the stream. It's much easier if you live in a kehillah amongst Bnei Torah, amongst Talmidei Chachamim, amongst other people who are in the same Nisayan. They've misgaber over the Nisayan, who have raised Talmidei Chachamim and children. This kind of a kehillah, you can raise children. And this is what he did. He not only raised children, the daughters, all Bnei Torah, all Shomer Shabbos, all Yiras Shamayim, but he also was the mashpia. He contributed to the milieu of a sviva of Bnei Torah that allowed others to raise their children as Bnei Torah. He set the standard of conduct. He was the Nasi in the Kehillah. The Nasi in the Kehillah means not only did he assume responsibility for somebody else, but he was mashpiach. If he's the first guy go to the Daf Yomi Shir, that means other people will go to the Daf Yomi Shir. If he's the first guy in davening, other people will go to davening. If the Nasi will do it, other people will do it as well. In other words, he sets a standard of conduct. And this standard of conduct is the Nasi HaMashpia, who influences others. Chachamim tell us that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Rebbeinu Shalom judges Kol sheyesh bo yimon hayom, v'Kol she'ein bo yimon hayom. So Kol sheyesh bo yimon hayom judges the people who are here. It's Vashteitzim, right? We're sitting over there, we lived the whole life, went through the whole year, so the Rebbeinu Shalom now figures out, whether we did good or we didn't do good. But what do you mean he's about to judge the Kol she'ein bo yimon hayom? Das ist nicht du. Was will they von say? No. You have to understand, a person leaves his zikaron. He leaves his influence in this world. And you know what the Rebbeinu Shalom does every Rosh Hashanah? He sits down and he makes a cheshbon. He makes a cheshbon. What influence did this person bring to bear that continues till today? The Yosef Gottliebs are here with us. They're here with us, and their influence is with us. Their Zecher is their Zikaron. Abi is Goyal Tzedek, B'Meir B'Yomeinu Amen.